welcome everyone to the latest episode of Chainlinked by Chainlink Labs. For those new to the show, this is a Twitter Spaces series where you can learn all about the latest developments in Chainlink and the wider smart contract ecosystem. Today, we're joined by the CTO and co-founder of Space and Time, Scott Dykstra, to talk about the strong progress since joining the Chainlink BUILD program. To also support this discussion, we're joined by Chainlink Labs technical lead on the BUILD program, Sam Friedman. Welcome to the show, Scott and Sam. Really excited to dive into this with you. Excited to have you both take the time out to speak with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, same as well. I think this will be a fun, engaging discussion, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Would love to start off this conversation with introductions for the listeners. Sam, let's actually start off with you. Could you give us a brief introduction just of yourself, maybe like how you got into crypto and your general role here at Chainlink Labs?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been, career-wise, I've almost always been in IT and been a sci-fi fan, so crypto kind of lined up. I read I guess I got into crypto through that Gawker article about Silk Road a long time ago. And I set up Tor and got on Silk Road and filled my shopping cart with all kinds of stuff, all kinds of goodies. But I couldn't check out because I didn't know what Bitcoin was. So I did my research and fell down the rabbit hole and bought Bitcoin and listened to every single episode of Laura Shin's podcast. Then I got into mining. I had like a 24 GPU mining farm in my basement. And then did that for a couple of years. Then I discovered DeFi and became a degen and bought all kinds of shitcoins and NFTs, had fun with that. And then I decided to make the career jump. And I knew I wanted to be at Chainlink Labs, but I didn't know if I had the skill set. And lo and behold, this week is my 1-year anniversary at Chainlink.
Let's go. That's exciting. And what a wild 1 year that was.
Oh.
It's been a crazy year, but it's good. I love it. The romance is still my hire date was Valentine's Day, and the romance is still alive.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's great to be here with the Link Marines, and it's great to finally kind of be on a Twitter space with my friends at Chainlink. This is a momentous occasion for Space and Time as well. My background and career, I spent about a decade in the centralized enterprise data warehousing space, centralizing the world's data into cloud systems controlled by the Fortune 500 and FANG. I was the enemy of decentralization, and then I saw the light, thankfully. I got into crypto a couple years, probably 3 years ago. Had a friend, that was like, "Hey man, I'm selling my house. I'm buying ETH," and I'm like, "Dude, what the heck is ETH?" It's like, "Dude, I'm selling my house. I'm buying ETH. I'm moving to Medellin. This is it. This is the way." And I'm like, "Okay, well, have fun with that." Still stuck in, the fully centralized data warehousing space. Fortunately, along the way, I got to experience, the DeFi summer, and I got to experience what it means to build decentralized systems. And now I'm fixing, hopefully, along with our partners at Chainlink and with the development we're doing at Space and Time, fixing some of that. So excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Definitely not hopefully. You guys are building. You guys are building some great things. I think we've seen Chainlink, the Space and Time, just continue to grow. Especially since your debut at SmartCon 2022. I think we have a lot of folks in the audience who maybe have turned to our YouTube channel or were at the event and saw your debut. I also think there's probably people in the audience who might not be familiar with what Space and Time is all about. Could you kind of give us a high-level overview of Space and Time and why decentralized data warehouses are significant for generating new smart contract use cases in Web3?
Absolutely. So Space and Time is a decentralized database, or decentralized data warehouse, as you eloquently put it. What that means is we have a network of data warehouse clusters all over the globe, built, operated, and deployed by the community. The first community-owned, community-operated data warehouse. Gone are the days of centralizing all of an enterprise's data and therefore all of the internet's constituents' data, all of your data, into private black boxes that are centralized data warehouses. And why that's important is not only can a decentralized data warehouse help return ownership of users' data back to the user, but more importantly, it can connect query results to smart contracts. If we want to connect analytics and query results directly to a smart contract on any major chain in a tamper-proof, decentralized way, in a cryptographically guaranteed way, then we're going to need new technology. We're going to need a new paradigm, a new approach to data warehousing. Apps and analytics are powered by scalable data warehouses in the cloud today in the enterprise in Web 2. The problem with that is that's a analytic black box. That's a centralized system that allows the owner of that data warehouse to really censor your data, censor your account, change, manipulate data, remove rows of data. I'll end with this. The blockchain itself was actually the first decentralized database. A blockchain is a database of one massive table, the distributed ledger, and it doesn't necessarily have a query language, but it's a database that's with immutable records. The records on that ledger cannot be tampered, they cannot be changed, they cannot be edited, they cannot be censored. When you write data to the chain, that data is permanent. Space and Time realized, okay, what's next? Well, we need a query language. We need SQL for the chain. We need a way to connect more complex analytics, complex query results, and dApp developers need to connect their queries and their data directly to smart contracts off-chain as well, where we can have much larger storage volumes, much larger compute and processing at a much lower gas cost, and do a lot of complex work with terabytes or tens or even hundreds of terabytes of data off-chain and connect that to smart contracts. That's what Space and Time is bringing to the table in partnership with Chainlinked.
It's absolutely huge, and we know a lot of traditional businesses today in Web 2 use SQL to do their own data queries. So we can see how that's important for a Web 3 decentralized protocol or business as well. I'm curious, like, how does an Oracle like support what you guys are building at Space and Time, and maybe you could talk to us also about like why you decided to go with Chainlink.
Sure, absolutely. So, on the last question you mentioned, how does this enable new use cases? And I think that's a good place to start. If you can connect a decentralized data warehouse or a decentralized database off-chain to smart contracts on-chain in a tamper-proof, cryptographically guaranteed, censorship-resistant, decentralized way, hitting all the buzzwords. If you can connect that decentralized data warehouse directly to a smart contract, then you essentially allow a smart contract to run queries, to execute SQL at scale, to process large volumes of data, both on-chain and off-chain, in a tamper-proof way. And if a smart contract can actually query an off-chain database in a tamper-proof way, then we open up a whole new set of use cases for Web3, and therefore a whole new set of business logic available to smart contracts. We make smart contracts smarter. We allow smart contracts to do things that were not possible prior in DeFi, gaming, insurance tech, in social media, Web3 social, and in the NFT space, and in really any vertical on chain. And the reason Chainlink is so paramount in providing that capability is Chainlink is literally the link, literally the glue that connects this massive global decentralized data warehouse network to smart contracts on major chains. A smart contract on Polygon, for example, a dApp developer's smart contract can request a Chainlink job that pulls in a query result from Space and Time. Hey, Chainlink, go get me this query result from Space and Time. Go execute this against Space and Time data off-chain and provide the result to my smart contract back on-chain in a tamper-proof way, in a decentralized way, in a way that we can verify. Verifiable computation off-chain that's brought back on-chain via Chainlink. It's the classic Oracle use case, but it enables a whole new set of things that dApp developers never thought possible even a year or two ago, where a smart contract can, now ask questions like, show me, top 100 wallets that have purchased at least 2 of this NFT. Surprisingly, today you cannot do that on chain in the EVM. Even a question that simple. Show me all the wallets that have purchased at least 2 of this NFT and own, some link and etc. So it allows smart contracts to ask more complicated questions of their chain, of other chains, allows smart contracts to access large volumes of off-chain data and process it with SQL, and then Chainlink grabs that data from space and time and provides it to a dApp developer's smart contract.
And I'm assuming too, it's like not just on chain, it's off chain, like you're talking about. So could you also query things like weather data or anything using like an API, or is it strictly like on chain?
If I hear one more thing about weather data, nah, I'm just kidding. I love it. Yeah, I think the weather data is always a fun one for like demos because it's so straight, because it's something that everyone can wrap their head around. We're doing a lot of work in like the finance space, both in DeFi and CeFi, to connect off-chain financial markets to on-chain. And Chainlink really paved the way in this space, right? Chainlink was and is and will be the leader in like connecting stock prices, options prices, bonds, treasury bills, like traditional financial markets, connecting real-time pricing to smart contracts and providing oracles for those. Space and time then is sort of a huge value add in that architecture, where a traditional finance, institutional finance can load terabytes of data onto space and time in a familiar SQL, familiar data warehousing tools. They can load in, and stream in their terabytes of data. That data can be aggregated and prepped in space and time in a tamper-proof way. Like prices of options, for example, can be aggregated and prepped for the chain. And then Chainlink can grab that final aggregated price and put it on chain. So space and time becomes sort of a data prep layer for smart contracts in that space. Space and time aggregates and preps and transforms and molds this data into a format that a smart contract can accept that's gas efficient. And then of course Chainlink takes that and puts it on chain. From an insurance standpoint, that could be weather data, right? There you go. One more time. So from an insurance standpoint, maybe it's putting weather data on chain, but you might need to aggregate terabytes of weather data from across the globe or across the US or across a state or across a city, that you can't just put terabytes of data on chain. The block space is very limited today, like especially in the EVM, but even on chains like Polygon and Avex and Sui, like the block space is still pretty limited. You can't put terabytes of data on chain. You can put maybe megabytes of data, best case. So instead, you can load that into a decentralized and tamper-proof data warehouse that is space and time, prep it there, and Chainlink brings it back on chain. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you digging into that and giving us that insight. I also want to cover, your team at SmartCon 2022 announced a significant funding round with Microsoft's venture arm M12 and Framework Ventures, among other prominent investors. With the success of these funding rounds, I'm curious what your growth plans are for 2023. And you kind of covered like some of the use cases already, but I'm curious, like, are you focused on any specific use cases moving forward throughout the rest of this year?
Sure. Yes, SmartCon 2022 was an absolute blast, and I'm so grateful for Chainlink to host us and provide a platform for us to get the message out about space and time. It was great to meet the community and meet a lot of the Chainlink Marines. A great chance to meet a lot of the dApp developers in the space in both DeFi and gaming and in other verticals. So that was a blast, and we've been on a rampage ever since. So I'm glad you called that out. Yeah, the 2023 plan is a big launch for space and time. Like 2022 was a lot of announcements of, hey, here's what we're building, here's what we've been working on, here's what we're building, here's what's coming. 2023 is like, hey, we're here, we're ready. Space and time works. we have a network of clusters of data warehousing clusters ready to go. We are about to get to an open beta in Q2, and we're really excited about it. And that will include some ability for dApp developers to kind of onboard themselves, play around with space and time data. We've got a bunch of indexed blockchain data already preloaded and ready to go that kind of comes with space and time, right? That will allow smart contract developers that are already comfortable and familiar with Chainlink to kick off Chainlink jobs that grab query results from space and time and bring them on chain, and kind of start to enable this new paradigm of connecting more complex data sets, more complex analytics directly to smart contracts, and enable a whole new set of use cases for smart contracts. That's 2023, and we're really excited about it, especially in the gaming space, right? Like we're going to GDC and Consensus conferences this year and doing a lot of announcements and partnership with some pretty sizable Web3 games that we're really excited about, that are basically loading data from their gaming servers, real-time in-game data loaded into space and time from the gaming servers. And then space and time is aggregating and prepping that data to be provided to smart contracts to give rewards to players on chain, or drop NFTs for in-game activities, or analytics that connect in-game activity to on-chain purchases, etc. So it provides not only a better experience for the game developer to understand what's happening in-game and on-chain, but it also provides a better experience for the player, because now a smart contract on chain can reward a player for specific activities in game that weren't possible prior without space and time, because it's just too much data. Games, especially those AAA games that are, live, online, massively multiplayer, they're generating terabytes of data, not like every day, but over time, right? Certainly gigabytes every day, often hundreds of gigabytes a day, and at the corporate level, maybe terabytes. So all I'm saying is 2023 is going to be a blast. We're going to be live at GDC. We're going to be live at Consensus. No doubt we'll be live at SmartCon 2023, and we'll have a lot of announcements with developers in the gaming and DeFi space.
Yo, I'm really excited for the gaming stuff. Like the initial idea that popped into my head, it's like, hey, you're playing a game. It's taking all the action. It's categorizing all the actions the players are taking, and then hey, you reward players with like NFTs, right, for specific actions they earned in game, or maybe there's some sort of token reward, etc. So I think that's super exciting. I can't wait to see like what you guys are doing in the gaming space for this year. That's awesome. I would like to now transition over to Sam and start talking about the build program. Sam, as you know, Space and Time is one of the inaugural members of the Chainlink build program. But we may have some people in the audience as well who are new to Chainlink and might not know what the build program is all about. Could you give us a high level overview of the build program and what it means for both the Chainlink network and Space and Time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a number of projects in the build program across kind of different verticals or specialties or categories, and they're early stage projects, they're established projects, and we provide them with technical and non-technical services. So examples of technical services might be enhanced integration services. We will spend time working with smart contract developers, helping them integrate our oracles into their decentralized apps. We'll review code, we'll solutionize together. Just this week, talking about gaming, last week, we spent some time with one of our newest build partners looking at their contracts and found out we can reduce gas usage by 75%. And for a game, that's a big deal. With that savings, they can introduce all kinds of new features, all kinds of new game mechanics in an on-chain game. That's pretty dramatic. We also do things like have bidirectional communication between projects using build partners using our oracles with the product managers and the subject matter experts at Chainlink Labs. I know Scott has met with Scott. You'll correct me if I'm saying anything incorrect, but Scott has met with our product managers, and his feedback has been extremely valuable to us. And we've looked at each other's roadmaps and we try to align, and that's just an ongoing process. In terms of non-technical services we provide, Chainlink Labs has been in the space a long time, and we've got big networks and expertise in things like marketing to the Web3 community, engaging Web3 developers. So we'll work with projects and help them build strategic marketing plans, publicity plans, build community engagement, access developers through hackathons, other events and activities like that. And then there are non-technical services we deliver that are not necessarily provided by teammates inside Chainlink Labs, but we're part of a larger ecosystem, and we've got a number of partners in the community that can help us and add value. Like we have a network of VCs that we work with. We have relationships with blockchain foundations. We have cloud infrastructure relationships, and we can do things like give cloud infrastructure credits to projects, for example, or introduce them to developer workshops. We can help them with staffing and other activities like that. The other thing that we can do is maybe more directly technical in terms of the ecosystem. A lot of projects and protocols are more complex than just a protocol and an end user. A lot of protocols use other protocols. This is a composable, interoperable system. So if let's say your automated strategy vault protocol in our build program, you're going to need to work with lending and borrowing protocols, decentralized exchanges, yield aggregators, and we can help make those introductions and establish those relationships as well. So that's kind of an overview of what Build does in general. For space and time, I guess I mentioned before, Scott's team has met with our product managers and our subject matter experts. We've co-marketed before. We're planning events together. We're planning a hackathon together. Just this week, on Monday of this week, I saw an early demo of Space and Time where a smart contract submits a SQL query. The Chainlink node picks it up, sends it to Space and Time, which responds to the query and publishes it on chain back through our node. I saw it with my own eyes or on Etherscan. It's amazing. It's here. If you're a smart contract developer and you have a data-driven use case, Space and Time has arrived. It's amazing. So
100%. Well said. Yeah, and we couldn't have done it without the help of Chainlink. I'll just comment real quickly. Sam, it sounds like you just signed up to help us reduce our smart contract gas. It sounds like you signed up to audit Space and Time smart contracts and help us reduce our gas costs. Is that what I just heard? I'm just kidding. I'm just playing with you.
So it's not an audit.
I'm just kidding.
Audit, but show me what you've got. But actually, I'm glad you used the word audit because that's another one of the relationships we have, and some of our projects need help with auditing, and that's something we can help with.
Yeah, I mean, Chainlink's got the smart contract developers in the biz, so we always embrace the help and the partnership. I think to comment on the conversations on the product side of things, it's this fun relationship where we're pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Chainlink and kind of coming to the table with an architecture of like, hey, here's what we want to do with Chainlink. Is this possible? And then your product leader, I think so. Let's work on it, And then conversely, Chainlink's pushing the boundaries of what's possible for space and time. Chainlink's coming to us and saying, hey guys, some use cases, can you fulfill them? What would it take to kind of partner on these use cases? So it's pretty exciting. There's just so much, there's such a need for dApp developers to build on top of a decentralized data backend, basically a backend for dApp developers that provides them all the on-chain data they need for their dApp front end, but more importantly, connects the dApp front end activity into a database that's accessible from their smart contracts. And the way that plays out with Chainlink sits in the middle between that smart contract and space and time. So it's been fun, and your product team's a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, Scott, you've pushed us, which is great. I mean, we need that. We're building for projects like you. So thanks for all your input.
I love hearing more about the relationship because sometimes I don't even get to hear these type of insights, and it's cool to see like the push and pull between the build partner and Chainlink Labs. And Scott, I'm like curious, like when you were thinking about like joining the build program, like what was that process like, and what kind of made you pull the trigger to actually join?
I think Chainlink put out a really strong uh, position in the market around how an off-chain decentralized node network should operate, and how it can be secured and how it can be scaled, and most importantly how data can be brought to a smart contract in a tamper-proof, trust minimized way. There's no question that Chainlink is the leader, and has secured a firm number one position in that in that vertical, right? Like, and so if you're trying to think about new, unique, and tamper proof ways to connect off chain data to a smart contract, the first place you're going to go is Chainlink, right? Similarly, the architecture that Chainlink put together, where you have this global network of node operators that are, running very high quality, highly available enterprise grade hardware with good uptime and SLAs, communicating regularly, and staked and basically secured by a bounty contract. Like this whole idea of a decentralized Oracle network of off-chain Oracle operators coming to consensus and connecting data to a Chainlink validator contract on chain, which then hands data to a customer's contract. Like that architecture is beautiful. So when you start thinking about a decentralized data warehouse, there's another level of added complexity there, and I think the partnership with Chainlink allowed us to help to really ideate and iterate through that architecture. Like Chainlink paved the way. What creativity and what new ideas can space and time add? That was a huge kind of a huge genesis of the partnership and us joining Build. From there, I mean, Chainlink is just a good partner, good friends of ours, and I mean, it's a no brainer. The benefits of the Build program go far beyond just product development and product roadmap and architecture planning, but more on the go to market side. Help with getting into this DeFi space better and meeting more players in the DeFi space and meeting more potential customers of Space and Time, which are generally mutual customers or mutual builders on top of Chainlink as well. Mutual developers. A lot of the folks building on Chainlink will also be building on Space and Time, and a lot of the folks that find Space and Time will conversely start building on Chainlink. It's a perfect way to connect the results of queries to a smart contract. You need an Oracle network, and you might as well pick the best Oracle network, or one that is the most secure, the most trusted. You might as well pick an Oracle network that has a firm foundation in this space.
Scott, you're hired.
Hey, if you got to first you owe me some smart gas efficiency help, right?
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Sounds good.
And Scott, I'm sure we have like developers and other folks who are looking to launch their own startups. Like what recommendations would you have to projects like this who are considering joining the Build program?
Good question. I think most, if not all of the projects in the Build program are doing something big and creative that I would not have thought of, or I wouldn't have thought of to use Chainlink for that. There's a lot of innovation in this Build program. Every single project founder that I've talked to is doing something that makes me go, "Whoa, that's crazy!" Like that's a cool use of Chainlink, right? So if you're gonna build something in this space or found a project or join the Build program, I'd highly recommend you do the same. Like push the boundaries of what's possible with Chainlink and think of new ways to connect more valuable data to smart contracts. You got, like my friends at Trueflation connecting this massive data marketplace of financial data and inflation data to smart contracts to power prediction markets. You have folks like Krypton, who are really innovating in the truly decentralized DEX space and a cross-chain DEX that uses Chainlink for calculating MEV-resistant prices on token swaps. Like, they thought of a way to use Chainlink to basically fight MEV, remove MEV in their DEX, and they run calculations on the Chainlink nodes. You have like these really interesting projects that have brilliant founders that are creating and innovating in the space and thinking of new ways to use the architecture that Chainlink provides. And we're trying to do the same. We're trying to think of, okay,
I don't know if we lost Scott.
I think we lost
me?
Scott. The airport took
build program.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's Scott.
He's back. We lost you at the end there, Scott. Maybe like the last 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Wow. Okay, my bad. Just saying, innovation's key. All the projects in the build program are doing something new and unique with the, with the set of capabilities that Chainlink offers. So, for founders that are looking at the Chainlink build program, I'd highly recommend it. The benefits are tremendous, and what you need to bring to the table as a founder is a cool, impressive use case with Chainlink that brings data to the chain.
I love that. Yeah, definitely take advantage too. If you don't have any coding skills, any type of Chainlink hackathon is a great place to start, as well as any of our remote workshops or even in-person meetups, things like that. Like there's a really strong Chainlink community there that's willing to help you learn and grow. You could also hop in our Discord as well to get into those insights, ask questions, and just start learning, start coding. I think it's super important. And sometimes, you might just have like that shower thought, an amazing idea. And I say, go for it. Now is the time to build. And Sam,
and I'll just really quickly, I'll add to that. The Space and Time Twitter handle is here listening. It's the big pink hexagon. And I would love, go check out our Twitter to stay in touch with all the developments of Space and Time, and our Discord links on there too. You brought it up, Bryce, so I thought, hey, in the same vein, like, we're doing a lot of fun announcements, and we're going to be providing a lot of guides and tutorials on Discord as well. So stay in touch on the Space and Time Discord to keep up with the progress of Space and Time throughout 2023.
Yo, let's go. I'm all about it. I love how projects too in this space are all just providing so much education, so much resources, whether it's videos, blogs, workshops, hackathons. It's awesome, right? Like it's really, really cool. It's unique. You don't see that happening so much in Web 2 these days. So yeah, it's just a really special time for us to be part of this industry.
I mean, I spent a decade in Web 2 data warehousing, and man, they have so much to learn from Web3. They have so much to learn from major networks, L1s, networks like Chainlink. Like, none of this stuff takes place in Web2. There's no like community development and just like an overemphasis on building a community, training a community, educating a community, and bringing builders from all over the world. If Web2 paid attention, then they'd be a completely different. The Web2 data warehousing industry needs to wake up and learn from blockchain. It's a blast.
You guys are gonna wake them up. I'm sure of it. Sam, I know we covered a bunch of things about the build program. Is there anything else you'd like to add for our listeners that you think we may have missed?
Yeah, I guess I could add a few things. I'd like to comment on a couple things. One is this whole thread that we're in on community right now and community building. As a solutions architect at Chainlink, I talk to projects, multiple projects a day, scores a week sometimes, and it's I'd say more often than not, the business development person or the marketing contact that we're working with for all of these different Web3 projects, they started off as community members. They were users, they were interested, they liked the concept, they were in Discord, they volunteered on to do some sort of some sort of quest or task, and eventually became part of the core project team. So there is a path here to get involved. There's strong evidence every day that there's a path here to get involved. So yeah, I second that, Bryce. And then Scott, you brought up some great examples of categories of projects in the build program. Space and Time is providing some sort of off-chain resource, and in your case, it's provable SQL, right? Relational data with proofs. We've got a number of projects in a similar category, like ChainML providing artificial intelligence and machine learning, and all kinds of stuff. So we have a great catalog of projects in build. I'm very excited about.
I'm glad you brought up Chain. Oh, I'll just jump in really quick.
No.
I'm glad you brought up ChainML. We're close with them as well. I think there's going to be this effort to kind of build a composable platform almost, where Space and Time is the query engine, ChainML is the infrastructure to run machine learning and AI models in containers in a decentralized way that might pool indexed data from Space and Time first, and then Chainlink, of course, brings the result or the output of all of that on chain. In the same way that Chainlink, takes the result of Space and Time queries and puts those query results on chain, it's going to be really exciting to watch the partnership between ChainML and Chainlink as well for bringing like the results of machine learning process, like live machine learning models, operationalized machine learning models in a decentralized way, take those results and put them on chain. And the data that feeds those machine learning models will often come from Space and Time. So what I'm getting at is there's going to be this really composable architecture of like ChainML on top of Space and Time, Chainlink on top of ChainML, and a developer smart contract on top of that.
It's all connected.
Yep.
It's going to be epic. Scott, I'm just loving your enthusiasm about the industry, the space. It's awesome, man. Just had a comment. Yeah, to kind of wrap things up, guys, I wanted to also ask both of you kind of more about like the Web3 industry. How do you both like envision the role of like tamper-proof analytics and Oracle is kind of evolving over time? Maybe say like the next few years or so. Scott, maybe starting with you, like what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, look, smart contracts today, they're very limited in the questions they can ask about data on their own chain, which is a problem. If you're building in the EVM, for example, you have very limited ability to ask questions about, especially the history of the chain. Hey, which wallets did this at this time? There's no query language in the EVM. There's no way to ask complex questions about data on your own chain, much less other chains, right? Much less asking questions. Hey, you're deploy a contract on Ethereum, and you can't really ask questions about what's happening on BNB, for example. Chainlink's building, a whole suite of products or capabilities around cross-chain messaging and interoperabilities to send the state of chain A to chain B, send a smart contract state on chain A over to chain B, and communicate across chains. That's going to be hugely valuable and open up a whole new set of use cases for smart contracts that need, or dApp developers that need to build cross-chain. In the same way, Space and Time is indexing data from all these major chains. Like today, we're indexing data from 5 major chains: ETH, AVAX, Polygon, BNB, SUI, and we can not only send query results back to smart contracts on those different chains, but we're grabbing data from them. We're processing the state of those chains in real time. What I'm getting at is that allows smart contracts to be able to ask more complex questions, not only of the history and data on their own chain, not only about activity on their own chain, but also about others. So the ability for a smart contract to ask complex questions of like, hey, which wallets are doing this activity in these lending pools or in these liquidity pools or in these, which gamers are winning these NFTs for these reasons. And, a smart contract, if it can ask more complex questions, and you can build more complex dApps, you can build more complex business logic, and more complex business logic drives more gas, and more gas drives more miner payments to the miners, to the node, to the validator operators. More payments to the validator operators brings more validators to the space. More validators to the space brings a whole new set of dApps, and the circle continues. So, Chainlink's paving the way in allowing smart contracts to do things that weren't possible without Chainlink, and Space and Time wants to follow the lead.
Love it. Sam, what about you?
Yeah, I just see relentless innovation. I can't say every project. More and more, my conversations with projects have some sort of a topic of cross-chain use cases, multi-chain use cases. I'm seeing a lot happening with zero knowledge proofs on new chains, right? But also, I don't think a lot of people are aware that there's zero knowledge work going on public open chains like Ethereum right now. So there's a lot more happening there. I see a lot of projects like Space and Time and Krypton and ChainML using a decentralized Oracle network as a platform. So just relentless innovation, all kinds of areas, and growth. The size of our decentralized Oracle network they're going to grow as more value is secured, and then we're going to look at efficiencies there. So we'll adapt to the market as it grows, and let's see where it takes us.
Appreciate that, Sam.
Well said.
What do you guys think like the Web3 industry needs to do to like continue to improve and build, right? Like what should we keep doing? What should we continue doing? Or what, like maybe something even new that people aren't doing today and as the industry as a whole?
Sure. I think people are looking at this revolution in AI, and they're wondering, how is that going to play into blockchain technology, if at all? Where does Web3 and blockchain fit into this revolution? Well, I think from a space and time and a Chainlink perspective, I'm guessing that's all about verifiable computation, and in the context of AI, it's verifiable source data. Where is the source data that's training these models coming from? Who created it? Is there a tamper-proof ledger of proving that it's valid? Sam mentioned ZK, but I'm glad he did. I'm glad Sam brought that up, because something I wanted to hit on too is like Space and Time is putting tremendous effort into building a novel cryptographic protocol, a novel ZK proof for SQL. So we can prove that not only are the query results that we execute accurate and verifiable, but more importantly, prove that the underlying data hasn't been manipulated. No one's logged into the database and changed anything, because you can't. It's a decentralized database. Just like a blockchain, data can be immutable and unchangeable if needed. What that proof of SQL protocol we're building, this ZK proof for SQL, allows is us to not only send query results to the chain, but prove that those query results were run accurately. The computation was done in a verifiable way, and the underlying data hasn't been manipulated. That can open a set of trusted actions, AI developers and machine learning models that need stored data which is verifiable, to know that the lineage of their data came from a valid place. So blockchain, this idea of a tamper-proof ledger, of a global distributed ledger which is tamper-proof and immutable, can be very, very valuable for feeding data that trains models. And then on the ZK space, right, I think just the progression of high performance, scalable cryptographic proofs, ZK proofs for verifiable computation, is going to be really important in the enterprise going forward. So far, it's been all about like DeFi and rolling up transactions from like an L2 to an L1 or on the L1 itself. But like, the enterprise wants tamper-proof. They want tamper-proof data. They want to know that their data came from a good place. And I think we'll see this technology expand outward.
Love that. What are your thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this question 2 different ways, I think. I'm going to give you one answer for an additional question that you didn't ask. So, Bryce, you asked about improving the Web3 industry, right? So I'm going to answer that, but I'm also thinking about, because I'm here representing our build program. Like if you're interested in the build
Still got
program,
me? Did I lose audio?
I think. Do you guys hear me?
No, I hear
Hello?
you, Scott. Yeah, I hear you, Sam.
Okay. Okay, good. So I think if you want to improve Web3, then the build program would be interested in you. So I'm going to kind of put these two together. I feel like I still feel strongly about these ideological promises of Web3 to solve real world problems. Like, we've complained about TradFi a lot, but those problems exist in all kinds of domains, in gaming, in insurance, and all kinds of things. So, right, there's excessive centralized control, there's limited access, right? There's large parts of the world in the population, emerging parts of the world that can't participate in the global economy. There are all kinds of inefficiencies because we're stuck with physical buildings and distances, geographical distances. There's a lack of interoperability. My account, my assets in one bank don't work anywhere else, belongs to the bank. There's opacity. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So I think we need to keep solving those problems. And it doesn't matter if you're a game or an NFT community problem, NFT community project, DeFi, or something else, infrastructure. If you're solving those problems, then I think you're gonna improve the Web3 space, and the build program might be the right place for you. So fundamentals. The answer to my question is fundamentals. Web3 promises to solve problems. Let's keep working on solving those problems.
Absolutely. I appreciate you both just taking the time out to come on and speak with the audience, Scott and Sam. I know you guys both have very busy schedules. Scott, just want to kind of give you the opportunity maybe to share with the audience, where can they find Space and Time? Where can they find you? Where's the best place to stay most up to date with everything you guys have going on?
Appreciate that. Twitter and Discord for sure. Our Twitter's here in this space right now. This at Space and Time DB hexagon logo. Follow our Twitter to stay in touch with a ton of announcements. Open beta coming around consensus conference time in April, beginning of May. Stay in touch with the development of Space and Time throughout the year because we're on this platform to the world, and we're excited. So our Twitter also is linked to our Discord podcast. It's a lot of fun. Memes out the wazoo. If you just want to see some terrible space.
Did we lose Scott?
I think so.
Oh, I see Spencer's requesting. Here, I'll bring Spencer up from Space and Time. I think we may have lost Scott.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for getting me on here, Bryce. I think we lost Scott there for a second. I can come in and just close out what maybe Scott was trying to get across. I think we got our Twitter here in below Space and Time DB. You can join our Discord. Our Discord link is in our Twitter bio. I just want to say thank you so much to the Chainlink team for all the support they've given Space and Time. Bryce, Sam, thank you guys so much for having us on. That was honestly a great conversation. So excited to hopefully do more of these in the future. And, we're stoked to be intertwined with the Link Marines, and excited for the future.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure organizing this with you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I just love, Scott's enthusiasm. Spencer, when we were on the Zoom call yesterday, it was great to talk to you as well for the first time. It's just really cool, to see projects like yourselves evolving, building in the space, innovating with Chainlink products. I think it's awesome. And just blessed to be here, at this time.
Absolutely. I mean, and a lot of this is because of the build program. I can't echo that enough. The build program really does, open a lot of doors that otherwise wouldn't be. And just to that tune, if anybody, wants to get in contact with Space and Time, I mean, our doors are open. Go ahead, DM me on Twitter, DM the Space and Time account, DM Scott, DM Nate. I mean, we're super friendly and we love hearing people's stories, and we love connecting about just about anything in Web3. And thank you so much, Sam. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you. This is awesome.
And Sam, where could people learn more about the Build program? Where should people go?
Yeah, so right from here, you can click on my Twitter profile. I have a link to the Chainlink website page or Chainlink Labs website page for the Build program. If not, you can navigate there, or I'm on Twitter. You can send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer questions and point you in the right direction.
Absolutely, and my DMs are open as well. So if you're interested in the Build program, I'm happy to send anything over to the team and get you in touch with the proper folks. All right, guys, we'll close it out. This has been a ton of fun. I appreciate everyone just taking the time out of their day and tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.
Let's go. I can check
Thanks, Bryce.
check the bucket list of Twitter Space with Crypto Mewtwo, even if it was only about 2 minutes for me. So thanks, guys.
See you guys.